to face off against Switzerland, who seem to be the team that cannot miss going to the finals for Unity European Cup.
Right, exactly. They just have to be there. I was calling them the perennial silver medalists, but they're looking to change that up this tournament, obviously. Now, one of our biggest talking points earlier on in the broadcast today, Magical, was the fact that France was playing with not their main roster. They had to get a substitute for a specific player. We're no longer the case. Utah is back in the mix from whatever restaurant that they're at currently. So, shout out mobile gaming. Utah will be participating in this event. They'll be back at their starting 5. But yeah, I mean, no one is doubting the name value of any of these players. Utah and Megu, obviously a dynamic duo when Unite for so long, and Nachos, this young rookie player that has been just underage for the Unite Championship Series for years and years, and finally this year is going to get to make their competitive debut.
And this is the way to do it, is get back into this game and to take down Germany, especially because you had already beaten them once, but a lot of the players here, or a lot of the fans here, might be rooting for Germany because there's a certain name on there that we might recognize. Wouldn't you say, Zoinks?
Yeah, shout out Daddy Leon. No, I assume we are talking about our channel host Gatlu, of course. No, I am a big fan of honestly all 5 of the starting lineup players on Team Germany. They have all shown excellent skill, but you're right, there is a natural team leader on the squad named Gatlu, and they're in first pick position right now, right into the draft phase. Trevenant and Mimikyu, the ban so far, and France actually locking in this Sarah Ledge ban alongside Umbra, which might be a bit more typical, but this Sarah Ledge is a great answer to Germany. Laura on Germany was running it 2 games in a row and first pick pride.
No. The first pick Dodrio here for Gatlu. This pick, not only did we get to see this in the last series picked up by France, but Gatlu has been playing this every time pretty much against France. They picked it before they unfortunately lost in that second game. If you go way back to the semifinals, Germany versus France, it was double speedster comps against one another. So they decided to go for the Dodrio over the Sword Dog. Zacian and Hoopa both go over to France.
Okay, interesting. So obviously some really good early game pressure from Zacian. Does have some late game potential, but that Mammoth one can start to answer when we start hitting a bit of that scaling portion. But France is going to find a little bit more early game value as well. We're going to see that Leafeon locked in, and Lunder is going to pick up the Machamp. Now that might switch spots a little bit. These players might rotate where these rosters end up. But so far, 0 range.
It's the double speedster again, Zoinks. It's the double speedster again for Germany. The ultimate snowball comp that they are running here. Getting Absol. Last time it was Zoroark with a Comfey on their team. This time they decided to go for Absol and then grab Pikachu.
Okay, interesting. So are we really taking a page of what LATAM likes to play? Both North and South will adore these double speedster compositions. And you're right, it can have some great early game pressure and really snowball, but it's a little like, it's got a lot of dynamic abilities for it. Of course, you can apply scoring pressure if you need to. Now, Utah locking down this Ho-Oh is a very interesting answer. We have the natural supportive core of Ho-Oh and Hoopa, but your tank kind of blends into some weird spots when you're playing it with this Ho-Oh build specifically. That team-wide res is amazing, but you cannot risk getting knocked out before the situation turns otherwise. So I'm very curious to see. Also, if Lunder is picking up the Ho-Oh, I wonder who's picking up second experience share, or if we're going to see a very rare 1 EXP share game out of Team France.
I'm watching. I'm just watching, letting the timer
there
kind
it
of
is.
Okay. Pick out there. Okay. Yeah, I was waiting for it. I was waiting to see if it was just going to be that, but no, getting the double XP share as expected. But the big thing for me is that France is running this Machamp again. Like, Machamp, I like playing Machamp personally. It's a nice run at you kind of Pokemon. Just like, all right, you go submission, drag him back, good CC. You were talking about it before. But it's one of these things that I think is actually underrated when it comes to playing into double speedsters, because they have to dive into you and you can immediately just grab one of them, lock them down for so long they get bursted.
Yeah, you got a bit of a point and click stun when it comes to Machamp if you are going with submission. Now, that is going to be a bit of a coin flip. I know Team France ran with it, but it was also a different player. Like, Nachos was picking up the Machamp last time, and they tend to go that way. I have a feeling that Utah might try to play it a bit more in the assassin-esque role, not having two speedsters locked in, but kind of filling those shoes, if you will, with the second all-arounder. So I'm not too sure. But here we go, Magical, into game number 1 of our losers finals. This is for a spot in Grands with Germany versus Team France.
And a chance at the title, chance at that best of 5, because this is the last best of 3 we will have for the European Unity Cup 2024. I'm expecting to see a lot of action early. When you have double speedster, you have to be looking for these early plays to snowball out of control, especially for Gatlu on this Dodrio.
Now, one of my favorite aspects of double speedster is which options you end up actually going with, and I do love Absol into particularly Ho-Oh Machamp. I do feel like it's one of those better anti-tanks.
Got it really risky there. Gotta dive again. Not expecting that the Leafeon would be there. I think it was a little bit of disrespect from Gatlu, giving over a free knockout, but they don't get too heavily punished, especially this early on. They didn't get those later funnel bees behind them, so they could clean up some of the experience that way, keep themselves relatively even.
Yeah, I don't think you're giving up too much, and hey, if one Buttlebee goes your way, maybe you're walking away as a Dodrio instead. But another big engage by Megu, but it would be Leafeon taking credit for that KO.
That one's a little bit bigger. Getting the knockout on to the Chansey right as the Altaria camp spawns up. So now you're forcing back Germany all the way to their pad again. Even if you don't secure that dunk, you're now securing control of the top path that you can then start to rotate down into central.
Yeah, the impressive thing that France has been able to do with this early game is they're putting this pressure on with just the 3 players in the top side. Lunder is going to go for a run. They get that safeguard to kind of ignore the speed, anti-speed flux zone and make their way to the other time to buy a little bit more time. But it's Utah in the bottom path on a melee Pokemon. We see this so rarely these days, but it is going to be evolved to the Mashoka. They have to deal with a lot of pressure already.
Now that they have the reinforcements for France, they are scaring away Germany, saying no more points for you. We're going to get the knockout onto the Swinub and then take some pity points there and start dunking in our own scores onto the spot pad. So Pikachu and Dodu, I think it's still Doduo, are scaring them off. Now getting Dodrio, but we have the fight over in the top path. Getting more double knockouts here. This Leafeon Zacian combo are starting to run house.
Yeah, both of these team compositions built to play into the early game. Maybe Mamoswine, the only one outstanding, but right now it's France absolutely dominating the early phases of this game. Germany has split push potential. They have comeback options, but right now it is looking like France has found the answer to this early Germany aggression.
And that's the problem for Germany. You built up a double speedster comp to snowball to get ahead early, and you've fallen behind. Now what is the backup plan? What do you start doing? Is it start putting all your resources into Pikachu?
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's alarm bells too soon, you know? I mean, maybe these players start to freak out, but you do have some good objective fights. You have Ice Fang for isolation. You got great full tackle secure, but one of those things is already gone. Now it's up to Gatlu to make some magic happen on the Dodrio.
And the highway's been opened up. They didn't bring the Sword Doggo, though. He actually took the long path, which meant that Ho-Oh got knocked out. Regice down to 50%. Hoopa tried to disengage and go with the Emerald two-step to get the knockout onto Chansey, but now they follow it up. There's going to be a turn all the way back for France. Fine and beautiful place. Nearly getting the clean ace, but only Piloswine getting away.
Yeah, I mean, I like that play from Absol, the first Pokemon to unlock their Unite move on Team Germany. They understand how important this first objective of the game is, and they just let it rip. But this the target priority is basically my only qualm with that team fight start. They focus everything towards Ho-Oh, and when you're putting that many damage resources towards the tanks, you don't get much back.
Oh, and now Germany trying to kind of grasp at straws, see what else they can get. They did get some nice knockouts in the top path with Regieleki up. That is going to be a good way to attack, but I'm looking at the reinforcements France has. They are starting to move people up towards the Regieleki, but now that it's secured, France are just going to go for a defensive position.
Yeah, if they want to push in, Leon's going to have to be extremely aggressive on this Piloswine. They don't have the Unite move, and now they got to answer back.
Emerald two-step gets a lot of damage, but that Thunderstorm does way more, and then the trample into the back line, making sure they rip them up hard. That Leafeon did nothing, yet knocks out as Machamp, the last one, tries to go for a huge barrage. What a punch there from Yotao, almost taking them all down. 1v4, the monster, the man, the myth, the legend, he knocks them all out.
That's unbelievable. I mean, he was playing pool and he hit one cue ball and all 8 actually hit their mark. Unbelievable. Utah cleans up. Unfortunately, 40 points do go in, but I don't think you can be too upset with a penta from the Machamp in game number 1. Wow, I don't know if you're playing from whatever restaurant, but the Wi-Fi's got to be good. Utah cooking right now.
I'll be honest, I'm on that other side. I'm on Germany's side. All right, you just give him the win. He deserves that one 100% after
yeah,
that
go
kind
next.
of play. GG, go next. Level 13 Machamp. What an unite right there. What a barrage. Getting the triple knockout immediately, but then still having the confidence to fight the two where you're going up against an Absol in one of them. You're afraid of that damage, and Utah was like, nah, I'm not afraid. I ain't afraid of no ghosts. I can go for this fight any day of the week.
Exactly. Ooh, Leon actually trying to engage with another fight. Pikachu backing them up with the Thunderstorm, and will be executed. All hands on deck to chase after the big bird, and Leafeon gets hit by one source of crowd control too many. Zapsol closes the gap on them.
I'm looking at that Machamp. Utah still untouched. That was the hero last time, and 4 remain for Germany. Pushing in. Utah again looking for another trade, but this time he thinks better of it. Decides to back out. Did not have that Unite move up just yet, as Lunder is going to be the sacrifice, trying to stop this as best he can, waiting the timer out. Level 13, he's got a lot of damage. There's going to be the punch to find the knockouts they need to. Mamoswine can't get out of that.
He got it back. He got the Unite move back. That is insane. Maybe this one wasn't a full penta, but it does dissuade Germany from getting enough points to score and break that goal zone. And that's important for a few reasons. Obviously, France is still holding that point lead, but having those 2 tier 1s still available when you are running that Hoopa composition is paramount. Now Sazuro's impact on the game is going to be way more prevalent, and this push can be stopped by a quick Hoopa portal down just like this.
But getting the knockout into Utah before the fight starts, now they got to be careful. How do you get out of this one? Slam down with the Ice Fang. Emerald 2-step, there's nothing there with a rekindling flame, bringing back up the dead, making sure they can keep fighting this one out, getting the knockouts for themselves, and that's France needing what they wanted, finding those picks, finding those knockouts, chasing away the remnants of Germany, and burning down the Mammoth.
And we finally see the relevance of this Ho-Oh, not only in its Unite move, which of course helps swing that fight in their favor, but that fire spin on Ho-Oh, absorbing damage and stopping so many scores in that big AoE damage area is so big. And again, this tier 1 still stands magical, and an unbelievable defensive effort from France, and they're able to quickly rotate and get this Regieleki before Germany can even finish farming their side.
And with only about 15 seconds left until Rayquaza is going to spawn. Another Reggie taken by France. This is putting Germany in an awkward position. Yes, you can try to go for the Rayquaza flip. We've seen that happen so many times. France just had that in the last series up against Switzerland in game 1. But this time they have a far better defensive position, but they can start making sure they are going to be the ones forcing any issue.
Yeah, Germany's composition doesn't necessarily need good positioning around the Ray to start things, but they certainly would like to have eyes on wherever Utah is playing from. Getting a surprise attack from that Machamp Unite move would be devastating, as evidenced about 4 minutes ago. So right now, they are playing extremely far forward, trying to bubble France out of the Ray pit. So far, they succeeded, but the flank of the Zacian and Machamp on the top side is still there.
Oh. Hoopa's already gone. That's a big pick that they've gotten for themselves. Chasing away the Ho-Oh. Emerald 2-step onto Pikachu. The Dicey Check button gets away, and they get the knockout onto Ho-Oh. That's a huge knockout, and these are going to be dunked, taking the lead for Germany right at the end.
Wow, Meku and Utah, this dynamic duo, resting all on their shoulders now. We have the Unite move from Zacian, eject button to reverse the aim, and actually hits a couple of targets, but they eventually will fall.
Utah, once again, the man event gets the whole world here. That's another approach, but this time, finding the knockouts, they needed to double for themselves. The Mammoth, the next one, because they've got the reinforcements for France. They've all respawned, and they've been dragged right back through the hyperspace hole to make sure that Rayquaza wasn't going to be taken so easily. Though, rekindling flame, getting one back up, bringing back in the Hoopa, and all the while, they're hoping that they can get some more points. Because keep in mind, 30 seconds still remain on the clock, and nobody's gotten Rayquaza.
Yeah, Machamp is scoring in the back line, so Utah ensuring their team still has the lead. This allows France to play a little bit more fast and loose with this aggressive defense. And Absol has no Unite move still, so they have no way to shred these giant tanks in front of them that are just face-checking the Absol. A great play by France, but honestly, I think I'm asking the question, where'd that Absol Unite actually go?
This actually could be huge, because look at the top hat. That is a far away one. This could take the lead for Germany, doubling up a lot of these points, trying to go for more, utilizing the Dodrio. This might be Germany snatching away game 1 victory.
Oh, no, Magical, I think you might be right. I mean, it's all down to how many points that Utah was able to score in those back caps, but with the amount that we just saw swing in from Germany, it's easily enough. 377 points, are you kidding me? What? Germany, I mean, they got main character energy today. This is insane.
They really do. I mean, honestly, I thought that Utah, with that amazing Machamp play, was going to be enough to keep the win there for France. But right at the end, people kind of forget one of the things that is nice about not taking away the outermost pads is that there's no way to really easily defend those, especially against a Dodrio. You got the 3 heads. That passive is so good for making sure you get additional points right at the end, especially in a close game like that.
Yeah, I mean, even if you can easily rotate to them, I think just the fact that they were able to score a ton on both tier 2s, both in bottom and top, was kind of the nail in the coffin for them to have to deal with. The Ho-Oh Res bringing Hoopa back in time, but just unfortunately, the Hoopa Unite move already out of the toolkit. They just didn't have enough time to defend. Small pockets meant lots of points in this case, and I mean, great on Germany for playing to their outs throughout that entire matchup really, really well. Despite how well France was playing together synergistically, they were bouncing back from that, and we talked about that is the benefit of this double speedster composition. You can split push, you can take small engagements, even if you're losing team fights, you're still applying pressure elsewhere. It's one of the best parts of Dodrio, and Gatlu's proven that this entire tournament.
Just looking really good with how many times you can move around the map and how quickly you can do so. I mean, you talked about it really well, I think, at that last, like, almost pseudo fight around Rayquaza, where when you look at Team Germany's comp, the hard thing for France to do is kind of stop Germany from doing anything, because they don't have to have the best positioning with that kind of composition. They can really be more reactive. A lot of other comps you look at, especially like typical front-to-back comps where you have more of the siege, need more of that poke from range. What we were seeing a lot before with the Miraidons, the Armor Rouges, was you had to have the setup. Not so much when you have like a Dodrio and an Absol. They just kind of need to find any angle.
and not to mention, you have the best break down the front door tool in the game with Mamoswine, right? Nothing is knocking out that Pokemon when you hit all your buttons, including your Unite move. It's just simply too much health and shield, so you will no matter what be able to gain whatever kind of forward pressure you need to, and then it's going to be up to your speedster damage dealers to find their own angles in after that. So they do have the time to farm, to be a little bit slower on the roll towards Rayquaza. France in that position does not have rip damage for something like they could just take it in their face. So again, cooler heads prevail, and it feels like they are still remaining on Germany time and time again. It's been really, really good to see how much success this team's been finding. With again, these are teams that have been playing together for quite some time in this tournament, but they're also not main rosters, right? So getting that synergistic level of play already is really, really exciting. And I mean, now Germany's one game away from going to the grand finals, which would be historic for this squad.
And looking at France, a team that had been undefeated going up till today. Today has not been their day. Losing to Switzerland earlier. Now, game 1 lost to Germany. They are one game away from being eliminated and not even having a chance at getting the title back for themselves. This has got to be where you really start thinking, what's been going wrong today? What can we fix? How do we bounce back into this one? Is it just the shift of the meta kind of going away from what their style was throughout the whole tournament, where we were seeing more of those siege comps? Or is it just that right now they're falling to a trap that teams like Germany are setting up for themselves, saying, all right, you got to run all over the place trying to catch up for the Dodrio.
Yeah, it is interesting. I think if one spot I would approach in the draft phase is maybe this Zacian. There's obviously a lot of priority onto it on Team France. Megu's like first picking it. It's getting banned against this team quite a bit, but the evidence in that last game, I just don't know if I'm really believing in that pick in particular. I mean, that obviously has a lot of power around first Bs. It gives you a lot of pressure into an Absol and a Dodrio. It is helping you swing in the early game in your favor, and I think it succeeded there. But after that, it felt like Megu was really having a hard time finding impact points on the map to actually make the Zacian work. Otherwise, it was just Dodrio and Absol just sort of avoiding the Megu rotation.
Which I think was a great read from Germany. Just being like, oh, the Sword Dog goes there. Nah, we're going that way. we're just going the opposite way. Just go wherever that's not. And then if we want to fight the Sword Doggo, it's always alone. We have the pack mentality. We're the ones that are grouped up together, and we've already found you caught away from your team. There's good reads across the board there from Team Germany. I'm kind of looking at like what mons are available, what you could pick for yourself, and what we've been kind of seeing. We were talking earlier and hearing how Lapras has kind of been one of these picks that has been starting to rise back up in priority and rise up in how strong they can be. And if you want something that can move you around the map pretty well, the Lapras Express, not too bad.
That is true. I mean, it is one of the reasons you pick it, right? The Lapras Express Unite it's kind of sick in a lot of different ways. Obviously, it's one of the best mobility Unite moves in the game. Its knockup is absolutely absurd if you're a solid Lapras player and you're landing that wave hit. So there's a lot of good variety for that Pokemon, and I mean, with these buffs to Lapras, with some of the changes to Blastoise recently, it really has felt like we are entering back into a Defender's top meta yet again. Trevenant was what we saw Megu playing earlier on in this tournament. Again, didn't get the game win, but really felt like it was still one of the most impactful things out there. North America's been playing a ton of Umbreon top in some of those situations, so I don't know. In my opinion, I do think that there are other options out there that we're not pursuing. Not to mention, Blaziken, not banned or picked, kind of seems
surprised. Yeah, I was kind of surprised by that one too. Like Blaziken, if you want something, we're even looking about like how those late game fights happen. Imagine France has a Blaziken. The game's not even. You have a Blaziken at the end there. You're way less worried about how a lot of these fights go. Now your setup control actually matters because it's so difficult to actually even get through that as a Mammoth Swine. I think that is something that we didn't see there. Wasn't necessarily like an egregious mistake, but definitely a missed opportunity for a team like France.
Yeah, it's that is a big bummer that you don't have it. But, I mean, obviously, I think Blaziken does get hurt a little bit more in the early game, especially into a double speedster comp. If you're picking Blaziken, you're basically accepting that Gatlu will be around level 5 by first Bs, which is a tough pill to swallow, if that's your pitch, right? So that is going to be a difficult thing to try to pull off, but I don't know. I do think there is some interesting draft decisions that France can take. Yeah.
Sorry. Now hear me out. There's one Pokemon above all others that if you pick it, you automatically win.
Okay, great. Yeah, Cramorant could be an option match.
Cramorant! It is always Cramorant. Where there's a bird, there's a way, and Cramorant, I just want to see Cramorant, guys. Come on, please. Please.
You're like one meta late. It was everywhere.
I know, I was so happy about that meta. And I'm like, yes, the bird's here. And it lasted for all of like 3 weeks. And I'm like, ah.
It is certainly not bad. It's just right now, I would say the major flavor of attackers in the bottom path is our Pokemon that can afford to have the experience share. Right now, it's gone, and I'll admit it, it's gone to tank players' heads. Tank players are running wild right now without the light bulb. They're feeling it. They're vibing. But all right, we are jumping into this draft. Thank you, everybody, for waiting for us. Yeah, we are double speedsters yet again, but Leon's going to be rocking the Umbreon this game.
Yeah, that's the big one to me, Zoinks, is that they ban away Sword Doggo, but Umbreon gets not just through, but you go for Dodrio first pick out of Germany, then you take Pikachu Hoopa, no Umbreon there, letting the Umbreon and Absol. I feel like for this, I said there wasn't an egregious mistake last time in the draft from France. I feel like this is an egregious mistake.
Yeah, you don't like it as much. I do like Pikachu into Dodrio specifically. I think it's a nice matchup,
it's
but
just the Umbreon.
allowing Umbreon to slide does hurt. I think it is a kind of showcasing Sazuro's dedication to that Hoopa pick. They really like it. But well, hey, if they're going off path in one way, Magical, at least they're going towards our advice in another. Megu has locked in the Spinstoise to be playing into that top path, so we are going with the defender top, and Utah decided they didn't carry enough in game number 1. Is going to try to take a Pokemon into the battlefield that they could do even more with in game 2. That is Zoroark, a Pokemon that is maybe one of the most feast or famine speedsters in the entire game.
So I don't know if you watched on Friday, but on Friday, when Germany and France played, it was in game 2 that Germany lost. It was Gatlu onto Dodrio, and I believe it was Laura onto Zoroark as well. And then it's Utao on Absol, and the Absol absolutely crushed him. I feel like this is Utao saying, all right, I'm going to show you how to play Zoroark. I don't need no Comfey in order to crush you.
Yeah, that actually is such a good point, Magical. The no Comfey is going to be a interesting twist into this next game, as you're going to have to play it alongside the Hoopa. Not traditionally well known for that specific build, unless Sazero wants to go trick Phantom Force. It works great with Blastoise. It works great with Zoroark.
Ooh.
But Hyperspace Hole works just really good with everything all the time. So, you know, it's not exactly a Hail Mary play.
You're winning me over, and then you're like, yeah, but Hyperspace Hole. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Right, yeah. That's the fun part of being an analyst on this broadcast is like, I'd love to see this. I don't think it's better than that, but I do think it kind of works in this one niche case for Utah. And hey, if I'm on Team France, after Utah's performance in game number 1, maybe we are building around that team in particular. You know, that one player.
We'll have to see, because for Team France, this is do or die, winner takes all. For them, at least, because if they lose this game, they are out of the Unity European Cup 2024, and then Germany will move on to the grand finals. They have to play with everything they've got if they want another shot to take down Switzerland.
Yeah. And all right, France with yet another game where they are going to be running Pikachu. Well, not another game, but the new comp, but a similar look. They melee Pokemon in the bottom path, but alongside this time a Pikachu to give them a little bit more range contest against that Venusaur.
And the Venusaur range is going to be quite difficult to deal with, and I think that's partly why having that Zoroark is going to be so nice. Something that can kind of get around the Blissey, get around Umbreon. But I'm expecting it's just going to be a mean look Umbreon, right? Just anytime you see Zoroark, mean look. Just no, stay over there, stay over there.
Potentially, I don't know. I actually think Foul Play is poised pretty well in the metagame right now. I mean, they both kind of stun.
True.
I don't know. It's tough. With Venusaur, though, I actually do like the mean look pairing. So it's really going to be up to Leon, right? Like, if you're mean looking, your Solar Beam success rate skyrockets. So it is a tough choice. Of course, Illusion doing a pretty good job at dodging some of those stuns. We'll have to see. So far, Utah doesn't care what move Umbreon has. They're just carving through.
Right now, Utah doesn't care what's going on the map. He's just carving through. He's gone lane to lane, ganked every one of them within the last minute, and won every one of them for France. They have massive leads already, 8 minutes on the clock still, and they are already looking mighty fine.
Yeah, almost at that level 8, which means they get a full minute to get to their Unite move. And okay, Magical, it's happening. It is Trick Hoopa. So we are one step closer to my crazy plan. That could work. I'm a fan. It is really fun. So basically, if anyone doesn't know, the synergy there is you trick onto your carry, either your Blastoise or your Zoroark in this case, and then you give them a little backdoor portal to get out of whenever they need it.
Okay, I was looking towards the bot path and seeing if I was going to be right with my Umbreon. Nah, not this time. So not going to be right on that one. But we are still seeing that there are some counter plays now for Germany as they are getting closer to their Unite. But the Unite for Utah already means that they are snowballing. feast or famine. There ain't no famine here for the Fox. He is feasting good tonight.
Yeah, the bounty is plentiful on the side of France. They are not worried about it in any way. Maybe the only spot they're lacking is in this top path right now. Megu is getting out-leveled by the Dodrio, but it's really hard to care about that at this moment in time when they are absolutely dominating the bottom side. Goal zone broken, Reg Ice secured.
Hey, sometimes when the king wants a banquet, the peasants must be famine, and that is what it is right now for France. They are giving everything to Zoroark. Level 10. They just need him to get into the top path. Right now, they're losing their Pikachu. They're losing control of the Regilucky. Absol chasing back, not able to get the knockout on the Hoopa, but I'm looking at Yutao now showing up, dashing everywhere. It's going to be the Blizzy. First attack, knocked out.
Man, that's a lot of resources used to just knock out a Pikachu. I'm not gonna lie. That's Absolute Unite move with a full collapse by Team Germany, and unfortunately, he doesn't get it, and now Team Germany's got to slow play this because they got no Blissey.
And they're looking to get knocked out here as how does that Absol get away? Another one going into the pocket of Yutao while they chase away Resu. Was almost able to get Gatlu there. Gatlu's still fine for now until they realize that the entirety of France is invading their jungle and looking to take it away while Gatlu might get the consolation prize of one knockout. He gets knocked out by the support.
Okay, Sazuru obviously clean with it on the joysticks on this Hoopa, able to port across different walls, and that boosted auto attack from Hoopa always hits way harder than you would ever think it would. They're not going with the Shadow Ball for the additional boosted auto damage, but still, with this moveset, this Hoopa is pretty good at pressing the A button. So, a good look, and now, you know, some things change, some things stay the same. We're setting up for yet another Reggie fight.
And I'm looking at Yutao. How many knockouts do you think you're gonna give Yutao this game? Over or under 15?
Oh, I was gonna say unlucky 13. So I guess I'm going under, but that's still a really high amount. You set the bar really high, Magical.
I did because I'm expecting a lot from Yutao right now.
Fair enough.
It's already a level 12 Zoroark, and we are only at that 5-minute mark right now, and they're diving the top pad. That's going to be anything thrown out right there. But a burst of damage onto the Zoroark forces them away, and even with the Typhoon, it did nothing to really help out the side of Germany. They couldn't get on top of Zoroark because they're still getting invaded, but getting a knockout onto Lucario is going to start helping them out.
Yeah, not sure really what Rezu was doing over there, but unfortunately they will go down playing that Pokemon-looking ward on the other side with the Lucario. They will get knocked out, but now France is going to have a chance to set up a decent offense towards Leon. Only Umbreon defending this goal zone, but they do have quite a bit of firepower towards it. But Leon, healthier than ever, able to just outbulk this duo right now.
That's the one difficult thing about going up against an Umbreon, right? Very tanky mon right there, and as a speedster, you kind of realize you need a little bit more support on your side if you're actually going to get that knockout. But it was all kind of a bait, keeping the members of Germany on the top side so they can get Registeel. Now that that's been noticed, Germany are making the call, looking for the Regilucky, but the Hoops have been unbound. Sazuro bringing up the reinforcements. They've taken the highway up into the top path. They're going to secure control of both the Reggie.
Yeah, Germany playing really passive, like not even a Solar Beam attempt to try to steal that Regieleki. Instead, just trying to play closer towards their goal zone. Obviously, very afraid of wherever Yutao is, but they finally found a way to get the execute on that big target, and that's 2 have fallen so far.
Yeah, overconfidence there from France. Yutao got deleted there by the double speedster. That means the rest of the team were caught out as well, thinking they had the better play, and now Germany out of nowhere making this one close yet again.
Yeah, big dunks. Dodrio splitting those in 2, and then Absol finishing with a full 50. Great Pikachu. I mean, they're able to shut down Dodrio. That's why you drafted that Pokemon, but we'll see how much more they can get. Blissey falling as well is great, but again, you need a lot of momentum if you're going to chase this all the way to points. Right now, you're just playing for EXP.
For some EXP, especially as we are getting close towards Rayquaza, we're looking at what's available. They've already taken the outer 2 pads, so you're not really having to play around that as France. If you can get to level 15 for Yutao, that might be like the big thing going into Rayquaza. But outside of that, like you said, Zoinks, there really isn't much there. Germany's not even losing out too much.
Yeah, no, they're not too worried at the moment. However, France does hold the lead, and maybe more importantly, Utah's at 14, and this time they have Unite move. We were talking about before how they sort of hit that unstoppable wall of Leon on this Umbreon. I do think all that starts to change as long as Utah does have that Zoroark Unite, one of their best burst options that take down a big target like that. Right now, they're playing around the top side, defending that first tier 1. Utah playing for back caps. Germany just roaming for info at the moment.
But look at Lortusen, also at level 14 on this Absol. That is going to be a nice dunk on the other side. We just saw that caught in by Utah with the rings unbound. France trying to get onto Rayquaza, but it's a 50-50. Who gets it? Goes over to France. They make sure they secure that one. Chase down and getting these knockouts. France will take us to a game 3.
Well done by Team France. Germany actually making that play call is really interesting. You might have the burst damage to take it, but you're contending with crowd control from both Hoopa Unbound and a Blastoise Unite move. It makes it very difficult to rip in the face of a team with all of those options to just stun you in place and get their own burst damage in. Utah is able to gap cap as well as return via Sazuro's Hoops Unbound portal. And now Team France holding the keys to a game number 3 at the moment. Even more so with this duo with 100 points in pocket each.
Oh, and they just spotted out that an Absol jumped up there. Nearly were going to turn that for the knockout. But I'm looking at these big dunks they can still get. That is why Germany are fighting. There's still a minute left on the clock. 100 points might have just gotten dunked in by France, by Utah. The shields are dissipating, and that's an outer pad that could at least start to collect some more points on. They get a little bit closer, but they need one miracle fight if they want to make this a 2-0 sweep.
Yeah, France is going to take this fight at tier 2. Some teams elect to try to just leave it at tier 1, knowing they have a substantial enough lead. Don't want to play that too close to the chest. They're just walking all over them. Utah able to take 2. This one is over.
This one is definitely over, even if there was nearly the knockout right there. Seeing that there are a long cooldown on and a long respawn timers on these members still. That's going to be a nice Typhoon yet again, and with these knockouts confirmed for France, now there is no hope for Germany. We've got us a game 3, baby.
Okay, a few things proven in this match, Magical, and first and foremost is that France can get a win today. They were searching, they were desperately looking, and finally they find their key to success. Utah on a hyper carry. 2 games in a row, this time looking really, really good. Tied this thing up 1-1, 653, an impressive final score, and Utah only at 8 KOs. Got a little quieter there once Germany hit their scaling, I think.
Yeah, once they hit their scaling, and I think a little bit of a hubris there on the side of France. Utah was playing a little bit too greedy by himself, getting caught out in some awkward positions that nearly allowed Germany to come back into that one. But they still had the power. Once they got Rayquaza, wasn't really much hope left there for Germany to be able to bring that game back. Even if a miracle fight happened, I don't think they would have had enough points to overcome the deficit they found themselves in.
Yeah, I know the moment you're talking about where both, I think, Rezu and Utah are both hanging out in that tall grass. Shout out to Lucario or Rezu, able to just sort of sacrifice themselves in that moment, lead the other enemies astray so that Utah could get a clean path to the enemy goal zone. But you're right, things getting a little hot under the collar there for a moment, but either way, I really do like the way that Team France played this into this draft. They did have second spot in this draft, which meant they got that final pick. Utah bringing the Zoroark in that position. That was pretty unique and interesting, mostly because of actually the Venusaur on the other side. We talked about it a little bit earlier on in the broadcast, but when Venu is meta, usually the biggest answers we see are just some of the hardest burst damage in the game, and Zoroark is one of those Pokemon that can really pull that off. Not to mention, we were invading it like 7. I think, with the whole team. So, with that ramp, it worked out really, really well. Team France is going to need to do it another game in a row now. They have to be perfect from this point out if they want to make a tournament championship run and reclaim their title.
Exactly, and I'm kind of looking even at like how the drafts work out, because we were even saying the Zoroark without Comfey, how is that going to do? I'm even looking at Venusaur and being like, was that really the pick that you wanted to go for there? Mew is still something that is available, that is a little bit safer. We've been seeing a little bit more of that. I mean, yes, Miraidon did get a lot of nerfs, but this is still something that has really good damage from range. That's a little less susceptible, especially when you want to go for these double speedsters. I'm more looking at Germany of what they could have possibly put in, like, in the slot that Cramorant, you know, Cramorant would have been great with double speedster because you're diving in there as well. I was able to work my way back there.
Triple dive. Okay, I see it. I see the tea leaves. All right. Yeah, that is interesting. I personally, I actually am a fan of the Venusaur, but I see where you're coming from.
Miraidon.
You just want anything for Cramorant. All right, listen, we got to drop Umbreon. Get it out of the game. Get some Cramorant in there. No, I do think you're right, though. That is a point of flexibility. I think you called it out. Miraidon, an excellent Pokemon to sort of fill some of those roles. We saw a little bit of Mewtwo Y play. We're already playing Blissey in some of these compositions. Maybe we could see a little bit of a move set change up from what has been popular on that Pokemon for quite some time. The Helping Hand Blissey and the Mewtwo Y is, well, stuff of nightmares for Pokemon Unite players in history, but it also feels like it's a little bit back. So maybe we see a change up there as well.
It definitely could happen. I mean, when you have a lot of changes that are happening, and we're looking towards how this is a post-world world we are in right now, where everyone's kind of getting used to a lot of the big changes that have happened since then. A lot of the meta Pokemon that we saw in the past, how those are starting to fall out. How even with the changes that people are still trying to copy worlds at the same time with more faster gameplay, try to go for more of that Fennel comfort. It's like go right from the get-go, while Europe has been historically known for being more slower paced, like waiting it out in the past. But now they are the ones playing a lot more fast and loose, ready to get this snowball online right away. It's really interesting just to see how these adaptations are working for each region, and how we are just watching throughout this entire past month how Europe themselves, they've been adapting to all of these changes.
Difficult to beat team in Team Switzerland, which we'll talk more about that when we're prepping for that tournament. But right now, I think the story has been revolving around Yutao, as it often does in this series. A player who's now picked Hyper Carry Pokemon in 2 games in a row, and a very different look of one in game number 1. It looks great. I don't think anyone's blaming Yutao on how that game's results ended up, but this time we saw the Zoroark. I wonder if we see any adaptations from Germany specifically in response to that. Honestly, the one I'd be curious about is if Germany decides to flip-flop on the side of draft choice.
That will be the big one, right? I've seen a lot of teams. For me personally, I like Orange side. There's only 2 bans in Pokemon Unite, and that means a lot of really strong Pokemon are left available, and it does seem that Germany are going to follow that. They're going for the orange side. That means, yes, that number 1, whatever you consider the strongest of all the really strong mons, you're not going to get, but you still get 2 of them. And then you finish it off with having counterpick at the very end. I really like this from Germany, but they will lose out on Absol.
Okay, interesting. So double Laura targeted bans this time around from France. That Serledge, which we saw so much in Germany's first match, and now this Absol, which we've been seeing from Laura in these last 2 games now. So a bit of a rotation of their bans, but very, very focused. Where does France want to go with that first pick? We've seen Pokemon like Umbreon, maybe even Ho-Oh emerge. Where are we going here with this first one from France? There it is.
Okay, Hoopa, don't mind that one personally. I think that's still a fine pick, because I'm looking at what defenders are available, and you still have a lot of strong defenders. Mamoswine is another one that you could go for. Germany, though, with the Leafeon early priority and a Pikachu too, means that Ho-Oh goes into France's hands. I'm even wondering if they wanted to grab something. There's that Mew that I was wondering where it has been all series long.
Yeah, Lunder going to be picking up that option. I really, really like Germany's decision to pick the Pikachu alongside the Leafeon. This does protect their Dodrio pick for a little bit later if they want to go with it. France might see the writing on the wall if that Leafeon is picked with anything else alongside of it, with this double speedster reliance that they've been playing with. So we might see that adaptation. But instead, it's going to be yet another mix-up. And it's going to be Zacian and then France with the bullet choice to pick Dodrio into the Pikachu on Germany's side.
Taking away Gatlu's Dodrio in game 3. What a call there from Team France. That one definitely, I think, is going to send shockwaves throughout this game, because we look at Germany's draft, and this is probably the most typical draft we've had from this team all day long. And I think a lot of that is from Rezu taking away the Dodrio, Utah is going to be on the Urshifu too without a Comfey. I'm really curious to see how that build path is going to be for France, because when you have the bear, you could essentially be one of those pseudo speedsters as well.
Yeah, I think with how Germany's been playing in some of these games and how their compositions fall, you need to have some kind of hyper secure if you want to be able to contend with what Germany's been doing, and the early game's been a little bit too strong to justify Blaziken, it seems. So, Black Bear is probably what we're going to be going with from Utah, I would have to imagine. But then again, Razorclaw does lead me to believe that maybe it is Blue Bear. We'll see. Either way, it is a very, very good team fighting utilization. Now, oh, man. I mean, Rezu's confidence to pick the Dodrio into the Pikachu. Like, I was talking about that. The start of Germany's draft was literally designed around protecting that Dodrio pick on their side with that Pikachu lock-in. They don't get it, and now, I mean, Germany probably can't be too upset. They have the natural counter on their team to that opposing Pokemon, but is it gonna be enough alongside everything else to justify Pikachu in that first pick position?
See, this is the problem now for Germany. You've got all this stuff to deal with the Dodrio, but what do you do about the bear? You've been so focused about the pheasant hunting that now the bear is behind you. That it's going to start clawing your face if you're not careful. As we get into game 3, the winner takes all. Winner moves on to face off against Switzerland in the grand finals.
Okay, so Germany going to be splitting up their central area. Leafeon only needs the red buff to get to their evolution, so Pikachu actually can afford to steal the blue of their own central and head down to bottom path to share it. So a very quick rotation from Germany. On the other hand, France only has Kubfu, which is going to be a very slow roll. This is a North American tournament. I guarantee that Phantom would be invading the Urshifu, but a little bit of a different angle in this game.
Yeah, just a wee bit of a different angle here. We are saying that Leafeon got into the top path, but took a beating for that. Just realizes that Megumin was able to get a lot, and even getting a knockout on the Chansey on the retreat. Germany, things are going topsy-turvy top path.
Yeah, Sazero on this Hoopa has been excellent, and they have the red buff this time too. So EXP share allows you to take the buff while giving all that EXP to your central area Pokemon. It works out there.
And getting the knockout, Gatlu taking a lot of damage too, but it's going to be the fight over the birds going the way of Team Germany. They got that knockout initially, so that they are the ones that gained the prize.
Yeah, a bit of a trade so far, right? So first bird's probably going to be going towards Team Germany, but they did have some big moments. That Trevenant passive is going to fade, but it will allow Leon to fully restore their HP and make it back okay.
Fighting over some more camps here. Bottle Bees will be secured by Team Germany, as now Blissey has leveled up. Trying to get away, eat some eggs, gonna be A-okay.
Yeah, oof, I mean, yeah, you said it so much more confidently than I thought it was going to be when I was watching how much damage was going in to that poor Blissey. I mean, Megu playing this top path Ho-Oh definitely has a lot of offensive ability. Let's see how good their defense is with a 3-player Germany rotation, though.
Don't need no defense. The strongest defense is a good offense, apparently. Correct. Because that was just Ho-Oh getting the knockout.
Exactly. If everybody's knocked out, there's no one to defend against. Logic is sound. At least I like to believe so. And it worked out really, really well. This Flamethrower Ho-Oh, it is so deceptive in the amount of damage that it can do. Because in the moment, it really feels like you're just tickling the opponents. But it's AoE. If you put Curse Bangle on that, you're anti-healing. There's just a lot of really good opportunities for Megu to put out consistent damage that players like Utah or Lunder will really be able to capitalize on.
Look, Zunks, I don't know how many times you've been around flamethrowers, but they burn. They're hot. They're really hot. So I understand it doing a lot of damage, like right there. That poor dog just takes a beating again. France are doing a good job, and Megumin is really getting all control just with this one pick in top path.
Exactly. Ooh, Sazero gets the call out, finds both of them hiding in that bottom L grass, and this is going to try to chase them down and away from that main objective. Meanwhile, I think Rezu's got all eyes on that basement objective with the Dodrio as well, and a quick Hoopa rotation will be available for the squad. It is the Hyperspace Hole build this time around. We have left Trick in the dust with no Zoroark to play with.
Now get in the car, we're going on a trip right now back into the bot path. We're fighting over Radgites, and we're gonna take it away. No, It was given over to Daddy Leon, and now the fight underneath the pad, finding a double knockout for Leafeon, but they gotta be careful. The trample was doing a lot. Right out the Razor Leaf, but not having to worry. That's gonna be the dive back in. Grezu on the bird, trying to show Gatlu how it's done, but can't get back in, too low, not wanting to die. It's gonna be the knockout there, double for Hoopa, and make it more as they continue to chase. Gatlu finally falls. The bear punches the dog in the face, and then looks for Blissey as Team France take control of the bot path.
Yeah, it feels like one big fight, but I swear it's been 2 or 3 at this point in time. France loses an initial push by Germany. Germany gets a little bit of scoring pressure, but it's France on the run back that's even stronger. And again, all of that comes down to this Hoopa pick and how quick the mobility becomes for any member of your team when that is done. I mean, I think France has received some criticism for this draft priority around Hoopa, but they've also received a decent amount of praise, specifically from me, because of how good Saucero is on this specific pick. So I'm loving it so far.
I like that. I mean, I honestly, I'm someone who comes from other MOBAs. I come from League of Legends. I always look at Hoopa's kit and be like, this is, I think, the strongest kit in the game.
Yeah.
You can literally remove every bit of damage on Hoopa's kit, and I still think it would be good. That's what this Pokemon could do.
I think it is in contention for best Unite move in the entire game. It comes close. And yeah, I mean, Zillion on crack, but it's crazy. So anyway, big defense so far on this goal zone, and it will be raining in points for Germany. Great stop by Lunder, though, with that surf.
Yeah, was able to deny the full points and getting rid of the pad 2. Trample into the back line, looking for Gatlu. Of course, that's who you look for when you're playing Dodrio. Not able to get the knockout onto the sword Doggo. Instead, trying to deny the pad being taken, just needs that last dunk, and it's destroyed by the tree.
All right, cool. So we talked about it in the first game of this series. Breaking those pads early is so strong against this composition in particular, but it's a bit of a at-what-cost situation, as Regieleki will not be able to be stolen by Team Germany on the Zacian. Gatli will not be able to get the last hit secure, and instead will have to defend against this push. Leon going to be the only backup they will receive.
I'm a little worried here for Team Germany because these fights, they might be close, but they every single time just minorly favor that of France, and now we go into the bot path again. Even if you're able to have a potential fight, you got your control on the Registeel, you lose the battle. More knockouts, more experience are being picked up by Team France.
Right, yeah. Team Germany's only source of experience has been via objectives at this point in the game, it feels like. And well, they are keeping pace in some regards, but for the most part are trailing behind Team France, who's had an overwhelming team fight advantage more than anything. But there is a big portion of Pokemon Unite that comes down to a major objective securing situation. So Germany could be, you know, foretelling of things to come with the situation they've got built up so far. But for now, it seems like they're going to try to actually make a bit of a push into the top side of the path, which is going to lead towards a tier 2. But I think you see a Ho-Oh, and they're going to turn tail and run.
And then realize that they've kind of left their bot path completely undefended. So there goes Blissey. Pikachu going to follow suit too. Make sure that they're not losing out on unnecessary points there.
Exactly. Get that farm very quickly. I think maybe they thought that Team France was actually going to make that push, and they try to get a bit of an ambush, but neither one really work out. Instead, it looks like we're going to have about 45 seconds of just chill farming sim, because Rayquaza's going to show up, and it seems that both these teams are playing it extremely safe. Germany needs their levels extremely bad. And Team France, on the other hand, would love to have good positional advantage, getting Urshifu in position, and not having to risk your Ho-Oh in kind of a tank defender spot is so good for France.
I was going to ask if maybe there's going to be a lucky play, but with the positioning right now from Germany, definitely not. They're making sure that there wasn't going to be the rotation. They already have to be careful, though, because they lost out on their Pikachu. That was a beautiful flank from Utao to make sure they took out the attacker right before Rayquaza spawns. Yes, Pikachu will be up, but you now lost that position around the all-important Sky Dragon, and they've already started up 50% on it. They are burning it down. And look at Utao again, looking for Pikachu, going right into the waiting arms, but the bear pulls back, trying to go for the fight instead. Now it's down to 25 under the Rayquaza. Who gets it? It goes to Germany! Out of nowhere! They steal it away! They find the fight! They're diving under, getting sliced down! The bear's gone into hibernation! prediction that Team Germany will move on into the grand finals. They will topple the dynasty of Team France.
Oh, a heartbreaking turn of events for Team France. They start hitting the Rayquaza, I have to imagine, because they're trusting Sazero to bring in the team, even Yutao included, via a portal. It actually allows Yutao to charge up Wicked Blow without anybody doing any damage to them and then pop through the portal, but Hoopa Portal's a little bit outside of the Ray Pit, so when they're bringing people in, it's not into the direct action. It becomes a really difficult spot to be. And now Germany have a sizable lead. France with a chance to bring this back, but it is not going to be an easy push.
Look at the defense already there. For Team Germany, they have to survive for 45 seconds. That is it. Make sure these points are not secured. A couple there, but not too many. Only 12, make another 6. That's not going to make up for the over 100 deficit that France find themselves in now. They have to fight in the flux zone if they want this fight to work. Fire spin, utilize to get a little bit of damage. Another hyperspace hole opened up. Wood hammer into the Horn Leech, getting the lockdown onto one. Now dashing into the back line. That's not what France wanted. They did not want that fight. They didn't want that smoke, not one bit. But Germany sure as hell did, because they are going to end this game. They're saying there's no chance you take this away from us. We are going to the grand finals.
And with a tournament that has been all about chasing that European championship crown, a usurp of our former champions happens here. Team France exiting and Team Germany moving on to our grand finals. No matter what happens in our next match, we will have a brand new Unity European Cup champion. Germany making things exciting in the losers finals.
Yes, they are. I mean, all down to a Rayquaza flip right there. And as you called out, I think a lot of that was the positioning just unfortunately there for the Hoopa hole. Just allowed that small window, ever so slight, that chance for Team Germany to sneak on in there and steal away the Rayquaza. And by doing so, they cement their victory and their place in the grand finals. What a well-fought battle between both sides, though. Team France definitely putting up a great show in this series and really showing why these two teams were already hyped up going into it. Back with the semifinals when they played before, even if it was a 2-0 then, it was still close for a lot of it. And here in this lower finals, where we saw how close these games were all the way to the bitter end.
Yeah, an amazing run for Team France. I don't think anybody's taken that away from them. Yes, they might not be reclaiming their championship crown, but a bronze medal finish in a tournament as stacked as this one, I think you definitely have to accept that fact. You played flawlessly up until the final day, and unfortunately, you just ran into two teams that are playing exceptionally well right now, and Team Switzerland and Team Germany, and I think just with the eye test of seeing those players play, I think that is going to be the grand finals that we all wanted to see. And one thing we do have to say a big thank you to and a big shout out to is our amazing sponsors who are making this tournament happen in the first place. Thank you so much to Nouns Esports for sponsoring this event and for having some pretty stellar merch that I have the tab open for that I will probably be clicking the buy button on pretty soon. We have Unity European Cup branded merch alongside with that Nouns branding, of course, for being the sponsors. You can check it out as well at bit.ly/UEC shop. And if you use code UNITE, you actually get 10% off. That is 10% of money that you're saving.
I really like those hoodies too. Those are nice.
I know.
I like the colors. I was like, if I had money right now, I would definitely be buying them. But unfortunately, I had to pay rent recently. Man, those are some nice hoodies.
I know, some good stuff. If you're looking for a cheaper option, the mugs are actually stellar too, so make sure to check it out. bit.ly/UEC shop. Big thank you to our sponsors of Nouns Esports for putting all that stuff together. And now we have one Nouns member headed into our grand finals. Gatlu on Team Germany has been running an absolute muck on this Dodrio through this entire tournament day today, and so far, no team has been able to put a stop to it. Guess it was Zashin in that final one, but still, no team has been able to put a stop to that. We're going to be getting our grand finals all set up for you, so we're going to jump to a very short break. When we come back, a brand new champion for the Unity European Cup.